November 22nd will of course be an amazing night of boxing, as there is 4 title fights during the Ring 4 card. Obviously being Abdullah Mason and I believe Sam Noakes. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but they'll be fighting for the vacant WBO lightweight title. Jesse Bam Rodriguez will be facing Fernando Puma Martinez in a 3-belt unification fight in the super flyweight division. Devin Haney is looking to capture Brian Norman Jr.'s WBO welterweight title. And in the main event, David Benavidez is defending his WBC light heavyweight title against former title challenger Anthony Yarde. Now, obviously, these are all good fights. These are all amazing fights. This is a really good card, especially one to really kind of end off the year. This is December. And you got some decent cards, but this one's the one to end it, right? But we're going to do it a little bit different, as obviously, before I would go through, in order. So first it would be Abdullah Mason, and then it would be Bam Rodriguez, right? But instead, I might as well change it up. Obviously, I saw, TikTok or something? We're going to go by least likely to most likely in terms of upsets. Obviously, the current underdogs is, of course, Sam Noakes. We're just going to call him Sam from now on. Fernando Martinez. Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr. is a pick'em fight, a 50-50 fight. But at the time where I was trying to make the video, Devin Haney was the very slight underdog. So for this video, we're going to continue that. Devin Haney is the considered underdog at this point. And, of course, Anthony Yarde. So, obviously, the least likely to create an upset is, unfortunately, Fernando Martinez. Now, of course, in this fight, Fernando Martinez is 18-0, 9 wins by way of knockout. He is a former unified super flyweight champion, as he took out Kazuto Ioka, unifying the IBF and WBA titles, which then he had to vacate the IBF title to rematch Ioka, which he then beat him again. Of course, he is a great fighter, obviously a champion and a unified champion. Obviously, he has a lot of skill sets. Obviously, he is known for his, I guess you could say, bulldozing type of action. He likes to jump in a lot. He likes to use, not angles, right? Not like Bam Rodriguez angles. He's not Martinez-Chenko, obviously. But he catches you in awkward positions. He's a very awkward fighter with a good, powerful punch. Obviously, he has a 50% knockout ratio that does not really do his power justice. He's able to stun opponents with his power. Obviously, we saw him in his first title defense, well, besides Ancajas, against the undefeated Jade Bornea, 18-0, which he stopped him in the 11th round by straight up blowing up his ears. So obviously he has power, he has the accuracy, but he is not, I don't want to say the best, tactically, right? Ken has one way of fighting. After that, not saying he doesn't have a plan B, but he's never really had to resort to a plan B, right? But of course, the unified champion, the current unified one, that being Jesse Bam Rodriguez, he of course is seen as a top 10 pound for pound fighter, 22-0, 15 wins by way of knockout. He is coming off of his unification win against Fumalele Cafu to unify the WBO and WBC titles. He stopped Fumalele Cafu, who was seen as a very good fighter, obviously a champion, and he defeated Kosei Tanaka, a 4-division world champion, to claim the WBO title. He's also defended it against Pedro Guevara, stopped him too. And of course, he is obviously the current unified super flyweight champion. He was also the former flyweight unified champion, defeating Sonny Edwards to unify the title, which was seen as the best fighter at the time. And of course, he also has basically 3 out of the 4, not even basically, he has 3 out of the 4 kings of super flyweight on his resume. Juan Francisco Estrada, Sarisa Katsurumbasai, I think that's his name, and of course, Carlos Cuadras, obviously. Very good. Obviously, the reason why this is the least likely for an upset to happen is Bam Rodriguez. No offense, but Bam Rodriguez is just that guy. He has faced slick fighters, but he has faced everyone. He has faced the rugged Mexican pressure fighter in Juan Francisco Estrada. He has faced the slick boxer in Sonny Edwards. He has faced a crafty fighter in Fumalele Cafu. Fernando Martinez, although a different fighter, unfortunately does not bring really anything new to the table that Bam Rodriguez can't really overcome. He has great IQ, great fundamentals, amazing footwork, and power too. When he gets going, he gets going. and it's very tough to stop him. He was dropped against Juan Francisco Estrada, but it was kind of more. I mean, then again, it's Juan Francisco Estrada. He's still an elite fighter, obviously, and it's just. I'm not saying Puma has bad footwork, but I think Bam Rodriguez's footwork is just levels above Martinez, and even though I like to say that he has his power, awkward fighting style, I don't think it'll take that long for Bam to figure him out. I like Puma Martinez. He's a very good fighter. He's not as active as I would like him to be because, I like watching him. But I'm going to be real. I think this might end a lot sooner than when he beat Cafu. I think he stops him in like 5 rounds. I'm going to be real with you. I don't think it's going to be close at all. I think Bam just going to destroy him. And it's going to be interesting because Puma's a unified champion. He has shown he has guts, skill, power, everything you need to really be a great champion. It's just, unfortunately, he's facing Bam Rodriguez. It's just as simple as that. It's not that Puma's a bad fighter. He's a great fighter. It's just, he's just facing Bam Rodriguez. But besides that, obviously, the next, or as you say, the another unlikely upset, which is probably going to be a surprise to literally everyone, is Devin Haney. That's right, Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr. I think this is one of the least likely upsets to happen. Not as much as, obviously, the Bam Rodriguez fight, but I have my reasons, and I think Brian Norman Jr. really makes a statement in this fight. But besides that, Devin Haney is 32-0, 15 wins by way of knockout, the former WBC super lightweight champion, and the former undisputed lightweight world champion was seen as arguably one of the best fighters, and at the point, people saw him as one of the 4 kings of the current era, until obviously the controversy with Ryan Garcia happened, and you get the point. He has not looked the best in his comeback fight against Jose Ramirez. Obviously, he was washed. He was moving up in weight. It did not look good at all. It was boring. And the thing is, boring is not one thing. Obviously, if you beat someone up so bad that it looks super easy and it's boring, that's one thing. Another thing is that you just straight up just don't engage for the most part. And I get it. You can say, oh, but Jose Ramirez didn't engage either. You get the point. But the difference is Devin Haney's the younger fighter, while Jose Ramirez was the washed fighter. It's kind of hard to expect, Jose Ramirez to really, hit the gas pedal, right? But besides that, when he has looked good, it was against other champions. Regis Prograis, George Kambosos Jr., Jojo Diaz, Eureka's Gamboa. Obviously, he has some good names in his resume, but we will talk about that later. But he is facing the champion, WBO welterweight champion, Brian Norman Jr., 28-0, 22 wins by way of knockout, a strong power puncher. He is coming off of a very brutal knockout win against Jin Sasaki, and he won his belt. Obviously, you could say email champion, which fair enough, but he won it against a very tough interim title holder, that being Giovanni Santillan. Obviously, that was a pretty brutal fight. It was somewhat close until it wasn't, and obviously Brian Norman's nickname is the Assassin number 2, and he lives up to it as he is better than the original, as they would say, right? He has good footwork. Obviously, I don't know if people are saying that he has bad footwork. He does not have bad footwork. I don't know who else saying that, but he has strong, powerful punches, and one of the worst things for Devin Haney, he's facing a very accurate puncher, which is literally something he has not faced in quite a bit of time. And the one time he faced someone like that, it did not look good for him, to be honest. He's also defeated people like Derek Cuevas, which obviously a good fighter, but inactive, and you get the point, right? Not really him to really be like, ooh, I whooped that guy's ass, right? Not so much. But the reason why I think the fight will not end well for Devin Haney is for the sole fact that Devin Haney kind of looks good against people with bad footwork. He looked great against Regis Prograis. He looked great against George Kambosos Jr. But Prograis, arguably has one of the worst footworks in the division. Obviously, he was champion at the time. Obviously, well-deserved. But, you get the point. A quick fighter, sharp puncher, and Devin Haney facing a flat-footed, slower fighter in Prograis and older. It didn't end well, right? George Kambosos, everyone... I hate not to keep disrespecting George Kambosos Jr. because he's world champion. He's unified and everything. So it's going to be on his resume always. He's going to be like, I was unified world champion, right? But, it's George Kambosos. Not really the best, win to become undisputed, right? Probably one of the worst wins to become undisputed. And then he defended it against Vasily Lomachenko, who has great footwork. And everyone thought he lost. Everyone thought he lost. He won undisputed in like the worst way possible, and he defended it. And people didn't even think he won. So like I said, when he's fighting people with decent footwork, accurate power punching like Vasily Lomachenko, or even someone like Ryan Garcia, which obviously he was on roids. Well, what was he on? He was on PEDs. What I'm trying to say, he was on PEDs, right? But Ryan Garcia obviously isn't known for his footwork either, but he's not super flat-footed, right? And Devin Haney looked bad in that. He looked bad against Lomachenko. He looked bad against Ryan Garcia. He was low-key kind of struggling against Jojo Diaz at some point. When he wins, he has to be the faster fighter. He has to be the one with the better footwork. He has to be the one that engages first, by the way. Most of the time, he has to engage first. He's not going to do that against Brian Norman. Brian Norman Jr. has good footwork, accurate power punching, and he will be the one that engages in this fight. Does Devin Haney have a chance? Of course he has a chance. Former undisputed champion, two division world champion. But from his last performance, and we get it, that's not something to really be like, oh, this is how he's going to be in this fight. Obviously not, because we're assuming, because this is a really big opportunity to become a 3-division world champion. Obviously, Devin Haney is going to be at his best that he's ever been before. The difference is, I don't think he's really shook off what happened in the Ryan Garcia fight, which, can you blame him? Not really. And he's facing a younger fighter, by the way. Brian Norman Jr. is the younger fighter. He is 24, while Devin Haney's 27. He has taken less damage throughout his career, even though he has been dropped. He has taken less damage throughout his career, and I think he's just one of the worst stylistic matchups for Devin Haney in the division. I know I'm kind of talking in circles now, but for the main point to digestible bites, Devin Haney's best wins, not only either people thought he lost the fight, or they are completely in the opposite direction of what Brian Norman Jr. is. Norman Jr. has shown, well, first of all, he's getting better throughout his career, just straight up that. So not only Devin Haney's going to be probably at the tip-top shape of his career, Brian Norman Jr. is probably evolved already. He's in his third stage of evolution at this point. He could slug it out. He's a quick counter puncher too. That is a very tough matchup for Devin Haney. He's facing someone probably bigger than him. Maybe not, actually. Devin Haney's huge, right? But you get the point. Someone like his size at this point. And because he's probably faster than him and can match his footwork. That's just a horrible matchup for Devin Haney. I'm sorry, but there's no way that Brian Norman Jr. is going to lose. And if he does lose, I will be very sad. But besides that, give me Brian Norman Jr. stopping Devin Haney in the 8th round. That's right. Give me Brian Norman Jr. by stoppage. Now, of course, now we're getting into the likely category. Not too likely, but if it happens, it happens. That's right. The next one on stage is Anthony Yarde. Of course, Anthony Yarde is 27-3, 24 wins by way of knockout, 2 losses by way of knockout. He has challenged for the title quite a bit of time. He has faced Sergey Kovalev for the WBO light heavyweight title, and he faced Benavidez for the unified light heavyweight titles. Obviously, he lost both of them by stoppage, but he put up a pretty good fight, right? He is known as a slugger. He really, it's a battle of wills with him, right? If you want to fight him, you have to out-slug him. Obviously, Benavidez and Kovalev have done it, but then again, Kovalev is called the Crusher for the reason, and Benavidez obviously has that 100%, or had that 100% KO ratio for a reason as well. Obviously, he is a very tough, rugged fighter. It takes some of the biggest punchers in the division to actually knock him out. But he is facing one of the bigger guys in the division, that being David Benavidez, the Mexican monster. Obviously now changed to El Monstro. Obviously, highlighting his other heritage, obviously. 30-0, 24 wins by way of knockout, a 2-division world champion, WBC in super middleweight and light heavyweight. He is an email champion at light heavyweight. But then again, they call him the Mexican monster for a reason. Most people don't want to fight him, except Anthony Yarde. Obviously, David Benavidez is coming off of one of his best wins to date, that being against the other boogeyman in the division, or at least former boogeyman, David Morrell, in a unanimous decision win. He was dropped, but it wasn't super close, but it was somewhat a tactical battle, which obviously in that fight, David Benavidez, I think, finally put to rest the bad defense allegations. He has shown he has pretty good defense, actually. He's shown it a lot. Of course, he has absolutely ravaged the super middleweight division, obviously defeating people like Demetrius Andrade and Caleb Plant and Anthony Durrell. Now, of course, in light heavyweight, he has faced The Nail and David Morrell. Obviously, some really good wins. Now, of course, obviously, Benavidez is more known as a break you down type of fighter. He doesn't have that one-shot knockout power. He's more of destroy you to the body so then he can land his punches up top. You know, a very, not basic fighter, but a very fundamental type of fighter. You know, he doesn't have the best footwork, but he's not flat-footed. You know, he can move around. Obviously, he's not Benavidez-Chenko, right? But he knows his way around the ring. He has good defense, which most of the time he's just leaning back and using his arms. But then again, if it works, it works. He actually has some decent, not even decent, he has good counter-punching abilities, right? And those body shots, oh my God, those body shots are brutal. And the thing is, obviously in light heavyweight, one of his biggest weaknesses is basically gone. Not even basically, it's gone. Obviously in super middleweight, he was known as a late starter. Not anymore. This dude starts going to the body quick. He starts breaking you down quick. Like, bro, third round, he's already landed like, what, 10, 20 body shots or something like that? He starts quick. I don't know who the hell happened, but no, he's starting quick now. And yeah, the reason why this fight might end in an upset is for the sole fact that David Benavidez, one of his biggest weaknesses, is gone, but he has gained a somewhat new one. That being, his power is not the same in light heavyweight. It's not, right? And of course, you can say the same thing. Something similar happened with Virgil Ortiz. He fought two people, well, more so like four, but he fought two good people at a new division. He couldn't stop them. And then he fought someone who has been stopped quite a bit before, and he stopped him in the very first round. Obviously, this is not going to end in the first round. But what I'm trying to say is, this fight may show if Benavidez has the power or not. Me personally, I don't think he does. He has the power to sap your energy, power to really hurt you. But to stop you, I don't think he has that yet. I think he has to kind of change his fighting style, which may or may not happen. You never know. To get the stoppage win. Obviously, Anthony Yarde, once again, the slugger. He makes it rough. He makes it very, very physical. Benavidez relishes in that type of fight as well. Obviously, they both have commented on that before, saying how both want a war and both are going to give it. The difference is Benavidez is the much more durable, stronger, youthful fighter compared to the battle-worn Anthony Yarde, obviously. I don't think this fight's going to end in a stoppage. I think this goes decision, but I think it's going to be a very somewhat lopsided decision. I think Anthony Yarde's going to put up a great fight in the first couple rounds, but those body shots, man, those body shots are crazy. Now, of course, Yarde can attempt to really bully Benavidez and hurt him, because we've seen him hurt before in light heavyweight against David Morrell, but then again, that's David Morrell. David Morrell hits like a truck. And obviously, then again, that's kind of Benavidez getting caught doing something he wasn't supposed to, which I don't think is going to happen in this fight. But I think it's going to be a very close fight for the first, 7-8 rounds. I think it's going to be like one apiece, and get the point. But then those body shots are going to sap Yarde's energy, and I think Benavidez cruises to an 8-4 victory, defending his WBC title against a very good opponent. Obviously, Benavidez is still pretty big for light heavyweight, obviously. Well, not really that big for light heavyweight, but you get the point. But he is facing someone that will attempt to bully him in this fight. But obviously, Anthony Yarde being in as many wars as he's been in, being older, I think Benavidez wins a competitive fight. But besides that, obviously, the probably most likely to get an upset, that being Sam. That's right, Sam. Both undefeated, both have a lot of power, and both are facing each other for the vacant WBO lightweight championship. Obviously, after Keyshawn Davis should have missed the weight against De Los Santos, which still pisses me off. But hey, what are you going to do? Sam is 17-0, 15 wins by way of knockout. He is coming off of a third-round stoppage victory against Patrick Balaz, 13-4-1. Obviously, he has some undefeated fighters in his record, that being Calvin McCord, who he won by knockout or TKO. Karthik Kumar, second-round stoppage victory, 10-0. And Louis Sylvester, 13-0, fourth-round stoppage victory. Now, obviously, he's facing another undefeated power puncher, that being Abdullah Mason. Abdullah Mason is 19-0, 17 wins by way of knockout, only 21 years old. I think if he wins, I think he's the youngest champion He's coming off of the 5th round stoppage victory against Jeremiah Nakathia. Sorry, I can't pronounce his name right. 5th round stoppage victory. Obviously, the difference between Abdullah Mason and Sam is Sam has faced, I think, 3 undefeated opponents. Abdullah Mason has faced none. My bad. He has faced 3 as well, but they don't really count. 5-0 in his 4th fight. 4-0 in his 6th fight. You get the point. Very early on in his career, so it's not really a good test, a good testament to his skill. You get what I'm trying to say, right? But obviously, the main wins are obviously Manuel Jaimes, which was 16-2-1, which is obviously a very good record, but he's most known for going the decision with Rolly Romero up in super lightweight. Very important. He went the distance in super lightweight against a very good puncher in Rolly Romero. Abdullah Mason stopped him in 4 rounds. So obviously his power is legit, as they would say. That's his highlight of his career, which obviously he's looking to make another highlight by winning the title. Sam's highlights are winning against 3 undefeated opponents. Obviously, the way it's going to go is simple. Abdullah Mason is a very, very good fighter. Obviously, we've seen skill, obviously. And one of the main things, or main criticism for him, was the fact that he was dropped twice against Johan Vasquez. Even though he stopped him in the 2nd round, he got dropped twice against a 26-5 fighter. And don't get me wrong, he has a lot of power. And weirdly enough, what the hell? I had to check this box rec. He stopped a 30-0 fighter. That is crazy. There's actual decent records on this. What the hell? Well, hey, that's another good win for Abdullah Mason, right? But the thing is, he got dropped twice, and he is seen as somewhat untested. And in a close quarters encounter, Abdullah Mason kind of struggles, which Sam kind of thrives in. He's more of a close quarters type of fighter. He's not really one on the fight on the outside. The difference is obviously, if one likes to fight on the outside and one likes to fight on the inside, one obviously has to try to get inside. And that gives Abdullah Mason quite a bit of opportunities to hurt Sam. The difference is, both have power, obviously. One has been dropped by someone with said power, that being Abdullah Mason. Sam, I do not believe, has been dropped in his career. Nope, not to my knowledge. But the difference is, the 2 types of power is different. Abdullah Mason has kind of that one-shot knockout power, while Sam has that break you down type of fighter. Or break you down type of power, right? And I think that's where, obviously he's the favorite for the reason. Obviously, I think Abdullah Mason is going to win. The difference is there an opportunity for Sam to win? Yes, close quarters encounter. Take advantage of, or no, test his chin. Like they say in the commentary, test his chin. He has been dropped before against someone with power. Close quarters encounter, he's still a good fighter in that, but that realm belongs to Sam. And basically just don't let him breathe. Do what you do. Don't let him breathe. And there's a very good chance Sam can stop Abdullah Mason. What are the chances of that happening? To be honest, 40%. I give him 40% chance to win. I think that's a good chance. Is it going to happen, though? Probably not. Give me Abdullah Mason. No. We're doing this. We're going to do it. We're going to give the underdog a chance. Give me Sam by stoppage win. Now, of course, actually, one of the main things I didn't even attempt to look at was how long they've been in their careers. What's the longest round they've been in? Abdullah Mason has only been to the 6th round. Sam has been the 12th round, I think, twice in his career. Yeah, he's been twice the full distance. That gives him an edge. Obviously, just because we have not seen it happen does not mean it cannot happen. Obviously, Abdullah Mason, for all we know, can go 24 rounds. But from what I've seen, screw it. Sam Noakes takes him to deep waters and stops him. But anyways, who do you guys have winning these fights? Leave it down in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to catch you in the next one.